If you guys shoot steel, check out this video because it almost ended up in an injury for us, and it's something you should definitely be aware of. Watch this video and then I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So, right there, after a shot similar to that, this projectile right here came flying back roughly about 45-50 yards. And this was a 45 caliber Ricochet, but it looked super weird and deformed like this. And if you even look closely here, it's almost as if though it has like wood into the side of it. Now, when we called the ceasefire, didn't understand what was happening, so we set this up later after everybody had already left the range, and some people were thinking that it was a ricochet off of the rail ties. Well, unless there's some piece of metal in there, I just really could not understand that, because the way that the energy would transfer into a piece of wood. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was some sort of lacquer was put over some of these rail ties that I was not aware of. Maybe there's some weird composite material. Maybe there was some chunk of metal we checked for but just maybe missed. But it just wasn't adding up to me in terms of that ricochet literally coming right past the face of the guy who had shot it. He was at about the 15-yard line, but the ricochet in all came back to about the 50. And so we set up this experiment, and what I want you to look at is the base plate of this steel dueling tree. I don't know when, but at some point this base plate had become damaged, and so these are dents in the base plate. And what you'll see here is that when the round impacts the paddle on the bottom, it immediately, you even see the base plate move. It hits the base plate and goes down into the rocks and then off to who knows where. Well, specifically for the shot that we think was fired, or the two that were fired, we think that part of the base plate, which was already injured, and this one, which was even at more of an angle right back towards you, probably contributed to that. So see right here where we hit this paddle, and it doesn't hit it there, but it gets pretty damn close enough to make me think something has hit that exact same spot previously. Now, as for like the wood and stuff, we were trying to understand where there's all sorts of wood shards down here, so maybe it just hit wood as it hit the rocks, because when you look at the way this thing is deformed, this is not, looks like a meteorite. This does not look like a bullet that has impacted anything. And so my point to this video, guys, is if you shoot steel, be aware. We're really safe as it is already with steel. We don't shoot it beyond a certain yard line with certain calibers. We make sure that everything is always angled the correct way. And you can see we've always had like lots of sand and pots of sand, especially for like the more dense days when it comes to steel. But something like this I had never seen before, where the base plate of the stand was damaged to the way where it would literally send a projectile right back towards the shooter. Who knows how much energy that thing lost, but I would not want to get hit in the face with this thing as a ricochet, or at all, just in general. And so that also begs the question as to what would you do if you're shooting and all of a sudden this thing right here ricochets back at you and it hits you somewhere in your body. Well, just remember, extremity wounds, tourniquet, torso wounds, occlusive dressing, pressure. Don't start packing wounds anywhere in the torso. For a neck, like let's say, unfortunately the recent assassination we just saw, the only thing that I could think to do in that instant would be to have quick clot impregnated gauze and start stuffing that wound down towards the heart in hopes that it would cauterize that carotid artery. But I don't know, that's a very difficult thing to survive. If this hits somebody in the face, like in the mouth, can they breathe? You got to ask yourself those types of questions. In the eye, well, that's why you should probably have ballistic eye protection. So just remember, guys, that everything is going great until it's not, and you should understand how to respond to contingencies. This was a new lesson learned for me, which is why I thought it was important to put out there. Inspect your base plates, inspect your stands. We don't use pot hold steel, so it's like we're really safe with this stuff. And yet a stand deformity, yeah, it's just really strange. Keep that in mind. We never had any problems with that before, but All right, guys, hope that you learned something from this, and have a great day. Take care.